What if every ache you have ever brushed aside is not a flaw, but a secret code written upon your flesh? In the hidden corridors of mind and body, a silent physician waits, not in a sterile office, but within the very marrow of your being. Stay with me, and you will learn to decipher that language, to awaken the healer that dwells inside, as taught by Joseph Murphy. Welcome, seekers of hidden truth. I am the guardian of knowledge, and today we embark on a journey into the inner clinic, a realm where ancient Hermetic wisdom meets modern science. Joseph Murphy, mystic author and pioneer of the inner physician, taught that the body is a living manuscript, each symptom a glyph of deeper imbalance. By the end of our time together, you will grasp the doctrine of psychosomatic transcendence, acquire practical tools to listen and respond to your body's messages, and step onto the path of self-initiation as your own healer. We shall walk through 3 pillars of internal medicine: perception, interpretation, and integration. Let us first awaken the dormant sense that has always whispered to us. The body as scripture begins with the ontology of sensation. Sensation is not merely a fleeting impulse. It is a primordial code, a hermetic resonance that vibrates through every cell. Imagine your skin, muscles, and organs as pages of a living tablet, each line etched in the language of archetype. When you feel a knot in your throat, it is not merely a muscular contraction. It is an archetypal symbol of a word unsaid, a truth unclaimed. Throughout history, healers have recognized this. The Ayurvedic sages called the body a map of the cosmos, where each organ mirrors a celestial body. The alchemists of the Middle Ages spoke of the secret fire that transforms leaden emotions into golden insight. Even the ancient Greeks understood that illness could be a messenger from the soul, a warning that the psyche had strayed from its proper course. In the modern laboratory, we now see the same truth reflected in neuroimmune communication. Neurons fire, cytokines ripple, and the brain's limbic system narrates a story to the immune cells. Psychosomatic loops are not myths. They are measurable pathways where thought and feeling become chemical signals that shape tissue. This scientific lens does not diminish the mystery. It illuminates the bridge that Joseph Murphy called the inner physician. Now, let us practice a simple grounding observation. Close your eyes, inhale slowly, feel the breath fill the belly, and then gently sweep your awareness from the crown of your head down to the soles of your feet. Notice any tension, any temperature shift, any subtle pulse. Hold this awareness for a breathless moment. This brief body scan is the first key to unlocking the script that lives upon you. If this awakening feels profound, give this video a thoughtful like. Let the resonance spread. Having learned to see the script, we must now learn to read its meaning. Pain, like any symbol, carries an emotional archetype beneath its surface. A chronic neck ache often mirrors the burden of unspoken responsibility, a weight carried in the shoulders of expectation. A knot in the gut may be the embodiment of fear, the primal response to a threat that lives not in the external world, but within the mind. A tightness around the heart can be the echo of grief, a sorrow that has not been honored. The Hermetic principle of correspondence, as above, so below, teaches us that mental patterns manifest physically. When the mind dwells on scarcity, the body may manifest fatigue, as if the cells themselves whisper of lacking nourishment. When thoughts are tangled in anxiety, the nervous system tightens, producing tremors that are not random but messages. Consider the story of Maria, a woman who suffered relentless migraines for years. She approached her physician, received pills, and found temporary relief. But the storms returned. One night, in a moment of quiet reflection, Maria asked herself what the migraine demanded. The answer rose like a silent mantra. I need boundaries. She realized she had been saying yes to every request, her mind screaming through throbbing temples. By honoring the migraine's call and establishing firm limits, the pain dissolved, and a new sense of empowerment blossomed. Maria's experience illustrates the transformative power of decoding the glyphs that our bodies inscribe. To begin your own decoding, keep a body question journal. When a symptom arises, write the question, what feeling does this ache ask of me right now? Do not rush to prescribe a remedy. First, listen to the answer. The journal becomes a dialogue, a sacred contract between you and the inner physician. ¿Qué opinas tú? Share your reflections in the comments. I truly want to know how these insights resonate with your own experience. Interpretation alone does not heal. We must now integrate the wisdom. The first step toward integration is the ritual of acceptance. Stand before the mirror of your inner clinic and acknowledge each message with compassion. Say to the tension in your jaw, I hear you. I understand you are protecting me from speaking truth. This initiation into acceptance is a form of forbidden knowledge, for it requires you to confront the discomfort that many avoid. Next, we engage in alchemical transformation. Choose a simple daily ritual, a sequence of gentle movement followed by a spoken affirmation. For example, raise your arms slowly, inhale, and exhale while saying, I transmute my fear into steady courage. This movement affirmation pair acts as a crucible, turning raw tension into refined energy. Each repetition deepens the connection between intention and physical reality, allowing the inner physician to operate with greater clarity. Finally, we seal the healing covenant with a 7-day practice. For 7 days. 4. Each morning, awaken your body with the grounding observation. Then ask the body question, and close the cycle with the movement affirmation ritual. Record your observations. Note any shifts in sensation, mood, or perception. This covenant is not a rigid regimen, but a living pact, a promise to honor the dialogue that your flesh initiates. If this is opening new doors for you, subscribe and activate the bell so you may continue walking this path with us. The community of seekers grows stronger with each mindful participant. We have traversed the terrain of perception, decoded the symbols, and begun the integration that wounds the soul no longer. Yet the journey is far from complete. The inner physician beckons, waiting for you to step fully into the role of both patient and healer. In the silence that follows, listen. What does your body whisper now? Let that question guide you forward, and remember that each breath is an invitation to deeper understanding. Continue this exploration in the next chapter, where we will delve into the deeper currents of subconscious programming and how to rewrite the hidden scripts that bind us. Until then, keep your senses sharp, your mind open, and your heart receptive to the secret language of your own flesh. The doorway you now stand before is not merely an exit from the familiar halls of symptom and relief. It is an entrance into the labyrinth of the unconscious, where the very architecture of your being is drafted in symbols that pulse beneath the surface of awareness. Imagine, for a moment, that each breath you draw is a brushstroke upon a canvas that has been painted long before you ever learned the name of a single cell. The inner physician, that quiet steward of balance, does not work in isolation. It converses with the deeper currents that shape the narratives we inherit, the myths we repeat, and the patterns we unconsciously reenact. What if the stories you have carried since childhood, those whispered in the cradle of family, those echoed in the corridors of school, those etched in the quiet moments of solitude, are not merely memories, but the very scripts that dictate the rhythm of your heart, the tension in your shoulders, the ache behind your eyes. In the teachings of Joseph Murphy, the mind is described as a garden, and the body as the soil that nurtures every seed. Yet the garden is also a mirror, reflecting the hidden gardener's intentions. To rewrite the hidden scripts, we must first become aware of the gardener's hand. Let us begin this deeper investigation by turning our attention to the concept of subconscious programming, a term that may sound modern but is rooted in the ancient alchemical notion of the hidden fire that transforms base matter into gold. The fire, in this metaphor, is the unseen force that shapes belief, habit, and emotion, forging them into the very structure of our physiological experience. When this fire burns in harmony with the body's innate wisdom, it produces a gentle warmth that sustains health. When it burns erratically, it ignites inflammation, discord, and disease. Consider the habitual tension that settles in the jaw after a day of unspoken grievances. This tension is not merely a muscular response. It is the embodiment of a narrative that says, "I must hold back my voice. I must protect my peace by swallowing my truth." The inner physician receives this message as a signal, yet without the language of the deeper self. The signal remains a cry for attention, rather than a catalyst for transformation. To translate this, we must engage a practice that I call the ritual of the echoing mirror. The ritual of the echoing mirror begins with a stillness that is intentional, a pause that allows the mind to settle like sediment in a clear pond. Sit or stand in a place where the world's clamor cannot easily intrude. Close your eyes and bring your awareness to the space between your eyebrows, the point where thought often gathers before it disperses. Take a slow inhale, feeling the air travel down the throat, filling the lungs, expanding the chest. As you exhale, imagine a gentle wave of release traveling from the crown of the head, down through the spine, out through the soles of the feet, carrying with it any lingering resistance. Now, bring to mind a recurring sensation, a knot in the throat, a flutter in the chest, a heaviness in the lower back. Allow this sensation to surface without judgment, as if you were inviting an old friend to sit across from you at a table of quiet conversation. Ask, in a soft internal voice, "What story do you carry?" Listen, not with the analytical mind that seeks cause and effect, but with the deeper ear that perceives symbolism. The answer may arrive as an image, a phrase, a fragment of memory, or simply a feeling of weight. Hold this revelation without attempting to fix it. Simply acknowledge its presence. Having received the message, the next phase of the ritual involves the spoken affirmation, a phrase that serves as a bridge between the subconscious narrative and the conscious intention to heal. Choose words that honor the feeling while offering a new direction. For the throat knot, one might say, "I release the need to silence my truth, and I speak with compassion." Speak this affirmation slowly, allowing the vibration of your voice to resonate through the throat, feeling the muscles relax in response to the new pattern. Repeat this sequence 3 times, each repetition deepening the integration of the new script. This practice is not a one-time event. It is a daily communion with the inner physician, a continual refinement of the language that your flesh uses to communicate. Over the course of a fortnight, you may notice subtle shifts, perhaps a softening of the jaw, a lighter breath, a sense of ease that previously seemed foreign. These changes are the alchemical transmutation of old patterns into new, the gold that emerges when the hidden fires guided with intention. Now, let us explore the architecture of the subconscious mind as a network of archetypal chambers, each holding a particular theme of experience. In the Hermetic tradition, the principle of correspondence tells us that the macrocosm reflects the microcosm. The outer world mirrors the inner, and vice versa. By mapping the symbols that appear in your bodily sensations to these archetypal chambers, you gain a map that guides you toward the source of imbalance. The first chamber is the chamber of authority, often manifested in the neck and shoulders. When this area feels constricted, it may indicate an unresolved conflict with power, perhaps a fear of being controlled, or a rebellion against imposed expectations. The second chamber is the chamber of belonging, frequently expressed in the chest and heart region. A tightness here may signal grief, longing, or a sense of isolation. The third chamber is the chamber of survival, felt in the abdomen and lower back, where anxiety about security, finances, or basic needs can settle as chronic tension. To work with these chambers, adopt a practice I call the triadic alignment. Begin by focusing on one chamber at a time. Visualize a gentle light entering the area, illuminating the associated sensations. As you inhale, draw the light deeper, and as you exhale, imagine the light expanding outward, carrying away any distortion that has taken root. Then, speak an affirmation that addresses the core theme of the chamber. For the chamber of authority, you might say, "I honor my power and release the need to dominate." For the chamber of belonging, perhaps, "I am welcomed within myself and within the world." For the chamber of survival, you could state, "I trust in the flow of provision and release fear of scarcity." Perform this alignment in a rhythm that feels natural, perhaps once in the morning, once at midday, and once before sleep. The repetition creates a neural pathway that rewires the subconscious programming, allowing new, healthier narratives to take hold. As the pathways strengthen, the physical manifestations begin to dissolve, not through force but through the gentle surrender to a more harmonious script. At this juncture, you may wonder how these practices intersect with the broader tapestry of your life, how the inner physician can influence relationships, work, and purpose. The answer lies in the concept of the healing covenant we introduced earlier, now expanded into a communal pact. Healing is not an isolated act. It reverberates through the field of connections that surround you. When you begin to honor your body's language, you send a signal to others that you are willing to engage authentically, to listen, and to respond with compassion. This ripple effect can transform families, workplaces, and even societies. To nurture this communal aspect, consider forming a circle of seekers, a gathering where each participant shares a brief account of a bodily message they have decoded and the affirmation they have used. The act of speaking these experiences aloud reinforces the neural imprint, while also providing a mirror for others to reflect upon their own journeys. In this shared space, the inner physician becomes a collective healer, each individual contributing a thread to the larger tapestry of consciousness. Now, let us turn to the final horizon of this exploration, the rewriting of the hidden scripts that bind us, the deep-seated beliefs that have been etched into our being since the earliest moments of awareness. These scripts often operate beneath the veil of conscious thought, directing behavior through patterns that feel inevitable. To alter them, we must engage a process that Joseph Murphy described as mental transmutation, a deliberate reauthoring of the mind's narrative. Begin by identifying a recurring pattern that feels limiting, a belief that you are not worthy, a fear of failure, a sense that love is conditional. Write this belief on a piece of paper, but do not merely note it. Transform it into a statement that embodies its opposite, framed in the present tense. For example, if the limiting belief is, "I am not enough," rewrite it as, "I am whole and sufficient exactly as I am." Hold this new statement in your mind and repeat it silently while visualizing a bright, steady light flowing into the area of the body where the old belief has manifested physically. If the belief of inadequacy resides in the throat, feel the light expanding there, dissolving the constriction and replacing it with openness. Repeat this mental transmutation 3 times a day, upon waking, at midday, and before sleep, each time allowing the affirmation to settle like a seed in fertile soil. Over weeks, you will notice the old pattern losing its grip as the new belief integrates into the cellular memory of the body. The tension that once marked the belief's presence will soften, giving way to a sense of ease that feels both new and ancient, as if you have remembered a truth that was always yours. As you practice these techniques, you may encounter moments of resistance, moments when the body seems to push back, when old habits surface with surprising vigor. This resistance is not a sign of failure. It is the protective reflex of the psyche, guarding the familiar even as it signals the need for growth. In those moments, recall the principle of compassionate acceptance we explored earlier. Observe the resistance without judgment, breathe into it, and offer it a gentle acknowledgement. "I see you, and I thank you for your service." By honoring the resistance, you dissolve its power, allowing the inner physician to continue its work unimpeded. Let us pause now, in this quiet interval, and reflect upon the journey we have undertaken together. We have traversed the terrain of perception, decoded the symbols that our flesh inscribes, engaged in rituals that align intention with physical expression, and begun to rewrite the scripts that have long guided our lives. Yet, as any seeker of truth knows, each step reveals another horizon, another layer of mystery waiting to be explored. What does your body whisper to you at this very moment? Does it speak of gratitude, of unfinished business, of a yearning to expand? Take a breath, listen, and allow that question to become the compass that guides your next steps. In the silence that follows, you may hear the subtle rhythm of your own heart, a reminder that you are both the patient and the healer, the seeker and the sage. If the path we have walked together has opened a new door within you, I invite you to share your experience in the comments below. What insight has emerged? Which practice resonated most deeply? Your reflections become part of the collective wisdom, a beacon for others who are walking the same inner corridors. Should you feel the call to continue this exploration, consider joining us in the next chapter, where we will delve even deeper into the currents of subconscious programming, uncovering the hidden scripts that bind us and learning how to rewrite them with intention and grace. Until that time, keep your senses sharp, your mind open, and your heart receptive to the secret language of your own flesh. In each breath, there lies an invitation to deeper understanding, and in each moment of awareness, a step toward the embodiment of true healing. Now, let us turn our attention to the subtle currents that flow beneath the surface of consciousness, those hidden scripts that have been inscribed upon the very fabric of our being since the moment we first drew breath. In the quiet chambers of the mind, patterns emerge like ancient constellations, each one a reminder of agreements made in ages past, each one a key that can unlock a new dimension of healing. As we step deeper into this inner sanctuary, we are called to become both archivist and alchemist, to record the language of the soul and to transmute its weight into light. Consider, for a moment, the notion that every habit, every recurring thought, every instinctual reaction is a line of code written by the subconscious self. This code, though invisible to the ordinary eye, exerts a magnetic pull upon the body, drawing it toward patterns of tension, inflammation, and dis-ease. When we awaken to this reality, we begin to see that the body is not merely a vessel for disease, but a living ledger that records the debt of unresolved narratives. The inner physician, as Joseph Murphy taught, is the steward of this ledger, tasked with balancing the accounts and restoring harmony. What would happen if we approached these hidden scripts not with fear, but with reverent curiosity? What if we invited the body to reveal the clauses of its contract, to speak of the promises it has kept and the betrayals it has endured? In this space of compassionate inquiry, the language of the flesh becomes a dialogue rather than a monologue, a partnership rather than a command. To embark upon this work, we first must cultivate a practice of reflective silence. Find a place where the world recedes, where the clamor of external demands fades into a soft hum. Sit with your spine tall, your shoulders relaxed, and allow the breath to settle into a gentle rhythm. As you inhale, imagine drawing in a luminous awareness. As you exhale, envision releasing any preconceptions that cloud the mind. In this stillness, ask the question, which part of my body feels the strongest urge to speak? Let the answer arise without judgment, like a whispered secret emerging from the shadows. Once the whisper has been heard, we engage the next phase, the act of naming. Give voice to the sensation, as if you were a scribe recording a sacred text. If a knot resides in the throat, you might name it the unspoken truth awaiting expression. If a heaviness rests in the lower abdomen, you could call it the unacknowledged grief of loss. By assigning a name, you transform the abstract into the concrete, granting the inner physician a point of reference from which to operate. This act of naming is not merely linguistic. It is an act of initiation, a rite that acknowledges the autonomy of the body and invites collaboration. Having named the sensation, we move to the stage of inquiry. Here, the sage within you asks, what does this message demand of me? What action? What change? What forgiveness does this part of me seek? Allow the answer to surface as an image, a feeling, or a simple phrase. Perhaps the knot in the throat asks for a conversation that has been avoided. Perhaps the heaviness in the abdomen requests a ritual of release, a symbolic letting go of what no longer serves. Listen deeply, for the body's language is often poetic, using metaphor to convey truth. Now, with the message discerned, we translate it into intention. Intention, in this context, functions as the catalyst that converts thought into manifestation. Speak your intention aloud, as if you were a priest invoking a blessing upon the altar of your own flesh. I release the need to protect myself through silence, you might declare, feeling the vibration of those words resonate through the throat. I honor the grief that has lingered in my core and allow it to dissolve into compassion, you could proclaim, feeling the breath shift in the abdomen. The power of spoken intention lies in its ability to align the subtle energies of mind, heart, and body, creating a harmonious field in which healing can flourish. To reinforce this alignment, incorporate a simple movement that mirrors the intention you have set. If you are releasing silence, gently open the jaw, tilt the head upward, and allow the shoulders to expand, embodying the freedom of expression. If you are honoring grief, place a hand over the heart, feel the pulse, and allow a slow, rhythmic sway, as if you were cradling a fragile flame. The union of word and motion creates a somatic echo that amplifies the healing signal, sending it deep into the cellular matrix where transformation takes root. It is essential now to seal this work with a ritual of gratitude. Gratitude operates as the final alchemical element, transmuting the raw material of effort into gold. Offer thanks to the part of you that has spoken, to the inner physician that has listened, and to the body that has cooperated. A simple phrase such as, "Thank you, my body, for revealing your wisdom," spoken with sincerity, will close the loop, ensuring that the energetic exchange is complete and balanced. Having practiced this cycle, listen, name, inquire, intend, move, and thank. You will notice a subtle shift in the way symptoms present themselves. Pain may soften, anxiety may wane, and the sense of disconnection may dissolve into a feeling of unity. This is not a miracle of external intervention, but the natural unfolding of the inner physician's work when given clear instruction and compassionate partnership. Let us pause here, in this moment of quiet reflection, and consider the broader implications of this practice. If each individual were to become a diligent steward of their own internal scripts, what transformation might ripple outward into families, communities, and societies? The collective health of humanity is, after all, a tapestry woven from the threads of individual well-being. By tending to our own inner gardens, we contribute to the flourishing of the whole. Now, I invite you to take a brief intermission. Close your eyes once more and bring to mind a lingering discomfort that you have carried for some time. Observe its texture, its temperature, its location. Speak its name aloud and ask the question, what does this part of you wish to heal? Remain in this space for a few breaths, allowing the answer to emerge. When you feel ready, open your eyes and note the insight that has arisen. This simple exercise, repeated daily, will sharpen your inner hearing and deepen the bond with your own healer. As we continue this journey together, we will explore the deeper layers of subconscious programming, those ancient narratives that have been handed down through generations, embedded within the DNA of our ancestors. These patterns, though often hidden, exert a powerful influence on our present experience. By bringing them into the light of awareness, we can begin the process of rewriting them, much like a scribe revises a manuscript to reflect a new truth. The next phase of our work involves a practice known as the inner dialogue, a structured conversation with the subconscious mind. To begin, create a quiet sanctuary. Light a candle if you wish, and sit comfortably. Close your eyes and imagine descending a gentle staircase, each step taking you deeper into the inner realm. At the bottom, you will encounter a figure, a representation of your subconscious, perhaps appearing as a wise elder, a child, or a symbolic animal. Approach this figure with respect and invite it to speak its truth. When the figure begins to speak, listen without interruption. Allow the words to flow, even if they seem puzzling or disjointed. After the initial outpouring, respond with compassion, asking clarifying questions such as, "Why do you hold this belief?" or "What fear sustains this pattern?" The dialogue may reveal memories long forgotten, emotions suppressed, or core beliefs that have guided your life's trajectory. Record these insights in a journal, noting both the content and the feelings that accompany them. Following this inner dialogue, engage in a ritual of renaming. Just as we named sensations earlier, we now rename the limiting beliefs uncovered. If the subconscious reveals a belief such as, "I am unworthy of love," you might rename it the shadow of past rejection seeking acknowledgement. This renaming transforms the belief from a static verdict into a dynamic, narrative that can be reshaped. Then, craft a new affirmation that reflects the desired truth. I am inherently deserving of love and compassion. Speak this affirmation aloud, feeling its resonance vibrate through every cell. To embed this new narrative into the deepest layers of your being, employ a technique called subliminal immersion. Before sleep, play a recording of your affirmation spoken in a gentle, soothing tone, allowing it to permeate the subconscious mind as you drift into the realm of dreams. Over time, this repeated exposure will rewrite the neural pathways associated with the old belief, replacing them with the new, empowering truth. Another powerful tool for reprogramming the subconscious is the practice of symbolic visualization. Imagine a garden within you, a fertile space where thoughts and emotions grow like plants. In this garden, identify the weeds, those entrenched patterns that no longer serve you. Visualize yourself gently uprooting them, feeling the soil release their grip. Then, plant seeds of intention, visualizing vibrant flowers blooming in colors that represent your desired qualities: courage, joy, abundance. Tend to this garden daily with mindful attention and watch as the inner landscape transforms. Throughout these practices, remember that the inner physician does not work in isolation. It relies on the support of the external world, on relationships that nurture, on environments that inspire. As you heal internally, consider how you might extend this healing outward, offering compassion to those you encounter, creating spaces where others feel safe to listen to their own bodies. In doing so, you become a beacon, a living testament to the power of the hidden language of flesh. Now, let us reflect on the nature of true mastery in this art. Mastery is not a destination, but a perpetual dance, a rhythm that invites you to return again and again to the wellspring of inner wisdom. Each cycle of listening, decoding, and integrating deepens your connection to the source, sharpening your perception and expanding your capacity for love. The journey is infinite, yet each step brings you closer to the radiant core of your being, where the healer resides in pure, unconditioned light. As we draw this segment to a close, I encourage you to set an intention for the coming days. Choose a single practice, perhaps the daily body scan, the inner dialogue, or the symbolic garden, and commit to it with sincerity. Observe the subtle shifts that arise, both within and without. Celebrate each moment of awareness as a triumph, a testament to the power of conscious engagement with your own physiology. If this exploration has resonated with you, I invite you to share your reflections in the comments below. What insight has emerged from your recent practice? Which symbol or archetype has spoken most loudly to your heart? Your experiences weave together a tapestry of collective wisdom, enriching the path for all seekers who walk these corridors of inner medicine. Should you feel the call to venture further, consider joining us in the next chapter, where we will delve into the realm of energetic alignment, exploring how subtle frequencies interact with the body's electromagnetic field, and how intentional sound can harmonize the inner physician's work. Together, we will uncover the vibration of healing and learn to conduct our own symphony of health. Until that moment arrives, keep your senses honed, your mind receptive, and your heart open to the secret language that flows through every cell. In each breath lies an invitation to deeper understanding, and in each moment of awareness, a step toward the embodiment of true healing. May your journey be blessed with clarity, courage, and the gentle guidance of the inner physician.